I never realized it until right now, but Ben Kennedy and Wes Blankenship could be brothers.
We're related.
I mean, it's really remarkable.
We do look pretty similar.
If you sprouted a little more fur.
Yeah.
He probably shaved this morning.
I did a couple days ago. It gets too much and then it gets itchy. I just can't do it.
All right,
like
so
you've got a pretty impressive beard. I could never make it that far.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I had it during the college football playoff. I had so much facial hair. I mean, I'm like a chia pet. I mean, that stuff just grows, man. It's crazy. But now I'm gray, Ben. I'm not a kid like you two anymore.
I'm with you.
I'm a silver fox.
I have a couple of gray hairs growing in.
I was giving Truex down the river. Martin's graying up. And I'm like, you and me, brother. So I want to give credit where it's due. The Clash was Ben Kennedy's vision from the jump. It was a win, win, win. What was that day like for you, watching it all unfold?
It was a special day. I can't take full credit for it. A lot of people involved to be able to pull that off. We actually only had one full-time person that was working on that project. Her name was Amy Lupo, based out of Los Angeles. So a lot of people that had their day jobs that also spent a lot of time pulling that project together. But really a special day and a special moment for us, and something new and something different. Being in Los Angeles, such a big market for us, 1 week before the Super Bowl, and then something new and novel like that, creating a track inside a Coliseum, which we've never done before. And then you layer on top of that, you know, a Pitbull concert, Ice Cube at the halftime break, DJ Ski playing throughout the event. There were a lot of new things that we wanted to test, and what better way to do it than an exhibition race. So it was a really special day. I'm sure you guys were out there or at least saw it on TV. There was so much energy in that bowl, and it was just fun. Like, there is no other way to describe it than people were having fun. A lot of new people were out there. 70% of the people that were there on Sunday had never been to a NASCAR race before.
Holy smokes.
And then almost 20% of the people that tuned in on TV hadn't watched any of our races during the playoffs for the previous year. So a lot of new fans that were tuning in.
There's so much momentum right now. We've talked about it with drivers. We talked about it with Steve Phelps. I don't know that I could overstate it. I've been doing this a long time, and I haven't felt it like this in a long time. Driving into Turn 4 tunnel today, driving down through here, through all the campground, there is an energy. It's a beautiful energy. And I want to know, like, from your perspective, why? Like, what is the energy? Where's it come? I know we got a new car. I know, like, all of that. But to me, it feels like it's another plane than just the car.
It does, yeah. It really feels like it. To your point, I mean, you know, growing up around the sport, and I remember 05, 06, 07, it was huge. I mean, you would come here and we'd have 150, 160,000 people here for the 500. It was massive. And it feels that way again, but it also feels different too. We have a next-gen car, which for a number of reasons is going to be fantastic for our sport. You have new owners coming in the sport, Michael Jordan, Dennis Hamlin, you know, Floyd Mayweather making a Daytona 500. I think there's just so many exciting storylines going into the season, you know, on top of, you know, us doing stuff on the schedule side, esports, sports betting. We have so many different initiatives and projects that are going on, not just at NASCAR, but as a sport. And people are just executing on them. And it's really starting to come to fruition. And I think it's finally starting to come to a head around this weekend in the 500.
Energy's beautiful.
I like that you mentioned the esports, because I think it's easy to forget in those early dark days of COVID, that was one of the first ways that I saw that y'all were trying something. Y'all were putting your neck out there, and I was watching that stuff, man. Like, there has
All
to.
of us were.
I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah, and you know, Steve Phelps talks about kind of taking share from some of the other sports. I think that period of time in 2020, over the course of 2 or 3 months, was really a watershed moment for our sport. You know, we went on pause for 8 or 9 weeks. And to your point, our fans were sitting at home and they were looking for content. They were looking for entertainment, and partnered up with iRacing and created the Pro Invitational Series to create content at those tracks we were supposed to be racing at, but in a virtual world. And it was cool to be able to kind of keep that momentum, be the first sport back with fans, the only sport to get in all of our events in the 2020 season. And then on top of that, you know, all of the stances that we took around, you know, the Confederate flag and social justice over that summer was really a pivotal moment for our sport, and I think helped set us up for a successful 2021 season. And I think the momentum has just continued to build, especially over this offseason, going into the Clash and then going into the 500.
So I want to get into the family business. For those of you watching, listening who may not know, Ben is the heir apparent and decided to give up racing. Was a race driver successfully. Made the decision to get out of the seat and really immerse himself in the business of the business. Why was that the right decision, first of all? And second, what comes with being blood? I mean, you're blood.
Yeah, I guess I am.
You are, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been around the sport my entire life. I've probably gone to every Daytona 500 since I've been born. And, growing up, we were always around racing and around the sport and around the business. I think it's just always been natural to me and kind of part of my life and lifestyle. But, I competed for 11 years, started in go-karts. I raced late models, eventually ran the Camping World Truck Series and then the Xfinity Series. And I had opportunities to continue running in, either one of those series or even move up to Cup. And, I kind of got to a point in my career where I was enjoying it. I was loving it. I finally felt like I was kind of getting my feet underneath of me as a driver. I wanted to keep going. But at the same time, I looked at myself, I was mid-20s, I had a lot of energy, I was healthy. I was really passionate about the sport and more passionate about making kind of a footprint on the future of the sport. And I felt like it was a good opportunity for me to come over to this side. I knew at some point I was going to be on the business side. And what better time than now when I had a lot of passion and energy to come over and try to be a part of it and really have a purpose around it. So it was a tough decision. I talked to Steve Phelps. I talked to Steve O'Donnell. I can't tell you how many times to get to that decision. But it really came down to about 2 weeks in mid to late January of 20, I guess it was 18. And I made the decision, and I haven't looked back since.
That's a huge undertaking. And I'm curious, how do you prevent that from becoming bigger than what you're trying to accomplish, if that makes sense? How do you prevent it from swallowing you up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a balancing act at the end of the day. Certainly there's a lot that kind of comes with being in a position that I'm in and being with the family. That said, I want to be a teammate to the people that are around me, and I want to be partners to everyone else that's in this sport. And I think that's the only way that we can really continue to have growth in the sport. It's us all working together and collaboratively. And I will say, to add on to everything that we've talked about, around esports and next-gen car and schedule, I think another reason that we're on this trajectory and there's so much momentum around this weekend is the collaboration in this sport between the teams, the drivers,
no question,
the OEM partners, the tracks, the broadcast partners, is by far and away better than it's probably ever been before. It's certainly better than it's ever been in my lifetime, but I think it's better than it's ever been before, and we're all trying to drive what's in the best interest of the business, and that's a big part of it. So, for me, I want to be a part of that team and continue to help drive it forward.
I've wanted to ask him this for a long time. I want to know about, so Jim is your great uncle, is that?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so great uncle, superstar, all right? Mom runs the whole, brilliant, your mother's brilliant lady. So you come in. If you have an idea, okay, the Clash. Let's just take the Clash. How does Jim France react when you have an idea that you think is going to work, is going to be big for the sport? Do they still look at you as like, hey, little Ben, or do they listen and go, that's okay?
They listen. I'm not gonna lie. It's a tough sell. Jim is a tough sell, and I think sometimes.
Tough nugget.
I think sometimes it might be more difficult for me than others too. But he wants to hear. All right, take the Clash as an example. What's the reasoning behind it? The Clash is going to be a big investment. We have to build a facility in the middle of the track. There's going to be a lot of costs behind marketing and promoting it the week before the Super Bowl. This is going to be an investment, but it's going to be an investment in the future of our sport. And, we have to position, hey, here's all the reasonings behind it, whether it's, from a broadcast standpoint, from a fan standpoint, from the industry standpoint. So he wants to hear those reasons, and it takes time too. For Jim in particular, it might take a few times that we actually have to sit down with him and kind of explain things. So And I appreciate that because he keeps us on our toes, he keeps us honest, and he makes us work for it. And I think it makes it that much more gratifying when you're able to actually see it come to life, too.
You're doing a great job. Appreciate your time, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
brother.
Yeah.
Not my real brother.